Hello and welcome back to Tomuarigassen, or How I Ripped Off Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the world's #1 video podcast that focuses solely on this comic book series I wrote as a 14-year-old about how great it would be if me and my life partner here, MC,
Hi.
if he and I were supernatural crime-fighting ninjas who fought zombies and vampires and drunk ghosts in toilets and all sorts of things like that. And it's really bad and terrible. And we read through it and laugh at all my bad spelling and grammar.
That's a very good summary.
Thank you. We'll try and stick to that in future episodes. So this is Family Part 4. It's become a bit of a saga, this, hasn't it? When we left it off, Chip's long-thought dead brother, Scott, had returned. And kind of turned out it was a vampire. It's really obvious. Everyone kind of knew, even Chip. And that was just how it said. But most importantly, we also discovered that Louise likes low-fat butter on bread.
That's true.
Jay listens to heavy metal music when he's asleep. And MC has a large rock collection. I believe that was also in the last episode.
They were also running low on sugar, which is pretty important.
I've been, all week, I've been desperate to find out if they've replenished their sugar supplies or just what the hell is going on.
I just hope to God we find out in this episode.
Let's just get straight into it. I don't want to wait anymore. Let's get on with it. It's Family Part 4. The bar was now beginning to empty, leaving Chip and Scott at the bar, and a drunk laid across one of the tables, along with about 19 empty Cuban glasses in front of him. Probably Shinno Khan, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Also, Cubans were a thing with us in our teens.
I'm guessing this is a reference to our friend James, who drank a lot of Cubans.
He drank a lot of Cubans.
Yeah. Oh.
They'd been talking about old times all night, and the subject of the here and now never arose. Where are you staying? Chip hoped Scott had booked into a hotel somewhere, as he didn't want to put his friends in danger back at the mansion.
But a bunch of strangers is fine. If Scott just fucking tears out the throats of everyone in a hotel, it's
Just go to that travel lodge, kill Lenny Henry, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Lenny Henry.
It's the adverts for Travelodge, right? Or was it Premier Inn? One of them.
Oh, okay,
I think it's Premier Inn.
I thought maybe this was a plot point from a future episode where Chip hunts down Scott after he kills Lenny Henry.
He turns Lenny Henry into a vampire and he's like the main villain of season 2. Fuck, I'm going to go back and rewrite this.
God, I really want to see a film with Lenny Henry as an evil master vampire dude.
And it's also a porno.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
He didn't feel up to the job of protecting anyone at the moment. That's what 4 pints and 2 shots would do to you. I mean, does that really mean you're just going to let people die? Is it like that's the limit? It's like, I've had 4 pints and 2 shots. You're fucked. You're dead, mate.
You get breathalyzed before you can kill vampires. If you're over the limit, there's a fine.
Maybe it wouldn't affect the normal Friday and Saturday night boozers, but it had been 4 years since Chip was last drunk. Again, specific with times and dates and. But now I'm curious. What was the occasion of the last time Chip was drunk? Like 4 years ago. What happened 4 years ago? He was like, you know what? I'm gonna have 4 pints and 2 shots.
I also wondered if it was the same amount as well.
Yeah. That's all he can have. Every 4 years, Chip is destined to have 4 pints and 2 shots. All night he'd been trying to get thoughts of staking his brother out of his head, but Chip could almost feel Scott's eyes of everyone who had been in the bar. Hang on. All night he'd been trying to get thoughts of staking his brother out of his head, because he's a vampire, but Chip could almost feel Scott's eyes of everyone who had been in the bar earlier, and it creeped him out? Crept him out?
Yep.
Cool.
I'm just going to assume it's sexual, because staking his brother and his eyes on everyone. I don't know. I just want to go back to the whole.
Oh, you're trying to work in some incest, aren't you?
Exactly.
It's just your standard thing for everything. That's all right. It was good news. Yeah, I'm staying at one of those cheap motel joints in the red light district.
Yep.
Why did you come back with me and we can have a few more drinks? Why did you come back with me and we can have a few more drinks? Chip took that as, come back to my flea-infested nest and we can drag a few hookers in to eat their throats. Sounds like fun. He wasn't sure how strong a vampire Scott had become, But Chip knew that if his older bro tried to put the bite on him, it wasn't going to be easy to resist. Okay, there might actually be some sort of incest involved.
And also they're going to a place in the red light district as well. Bringing some hookers in.
To watch. That was all fine and dandy. The wooden stake in his inside pocket would take care of that. There was just one problem. Chip wasn't sure he wanted to refuse Scott's inevitable offer of a siren.
Is that a wooden stake in your pocket, or are you just pleased to see me? Yeah.
They left the bar, still laughing and joking, and giggling
each other
and hitting
off.
each other with their hands and going blushing like schoolgirls.
So, women don't like that?
Asked MC, who had just had his illusions of the female anatomy shattered by Louise. Well, not any women I know, she replied. They both sat in silence and contemplated what had been said. MC spoke first.
Right. I'm off to bed to have a good long hard think about that.
Louise gave him one of her sympathy smiles.
Oh, now I'm just seeing fucking double entendres everywhere.
And we're back to this sort of kitchen sink domestic sitcom we've set up here at the back of the mansion as well. Jay yawned as he trotted down the stairs. He walked in the kitchen and addressed MC and Louise.
Keep the noise down, will you? I'm trying to get some sleep up there.
Again, more sitcom, like bad sitcom writing, where like obviously he's woken up everyone up with heavy metal, and because they were talking quietly, they've woken him up.
This is because the only shit you used to watch was like Buffy and Angel and Only Fools and Horses.
So like you have a still watch.
Good guy.
MC reminded himself.
No slaughtering.
Shinno Khan suddenly appeared, drink, in the way that he does.
Are you even referencing it? You've become self-aware of your writing and your stereotypes. That's great.
I think it's become a thing. Yeah. I told you, this is actually a fucking work of genius and no one just appreciates it.
It's very true. Whoop-de-doo.
That does not say whoop-de-doo. Read that properly.
No. Oh, sorry, you're right. Whoop-e-doo.
Said MC, repeating his famous catchphrase.
Just thinking of John McClane now. Whoop-e-doo, motherfuckers. Whoop-I-doo?
Said MC.
It's just like a sleepover now.
He looked at his teacher.
Surely even evil must respect the fact it's 2:15 a.m. 2:15 a.m. So in the half an hour since MC took the headphones off Jay and turned his music off, they've had time to eat bread with low-fat butter, discuss Chip's brother.
Yeah, women's anatomies.
Yep.
Yep.
And for MC, a comedy moment with Jay, and Shinno Khan's appeared. It's been a busy night.
Busy night at the mansion. Mm-hmm. But Shinno Khan was in no joking mood. Well, no more than usual. I mean, that could be his hangover.
He's a barrow of laughs normally, isn't he? I'm afraid Chip is in danger. Oops, 2:16 a.m. He's been just watching the clock the whole time. Oops, 2:16 a.m. That's past my saving the world time. I'm sure Chip can look after himself.
Shinno Khan and Louise glared at the sleepy ninja, whilst Jay just stood around, still half asleep. MC sighed.
I'll get my coat.
God, the poor bastard just wants to sleep, and it's like, it's loud heavy metal music, and then there's low-fat butter, and now his friend is in danger.
And it must be 2:17 by now, so...
The roads of Tokyo always seem to be busy, even at 2:30 a.m.
So it only takes 14 minutes for him to drive in.
Wasn't it like, did we establish early on that it was like a 20-minute drive?
I guess, though, the traffic is quieter because of the middle of the night, so there's not so much congestion.
But no, look, the roads of Tokyo always seem to be busy, even at 2:30 a.m. So,
but then we're talking about people rather than traffic. Maybe there's less traffic, but
true.
Yeah.
I guess maybe they've been living in Tokyo for a little bit. They've worked out a few of the shortcuts, maybe.
Oh, that's true.
Cuts
That's
their
true.
time in half.
Yeah.
People still hurried along the pavements and the roads. Some were just trying to find the nearest bar that was open, and yet others were running away from some act of ultimate evil that pursued them deep in the black heart of the night.
It's about 50-50, you know. Half people looking for bars, half people running from acts of ultimate evil that pursue them deep in the black heart of the night.
Come visit Tokyo. In perhaps a very rare case, Chip was walking with his undead brother to a place that could mean his death. But he continued to joke and laugh with Scott. It must have been the alcohol.
And a throbbing erection.
A few minutes later, and they arrived at Scott's lodgings. It was a familiar place to Chip. Himself and MC had cleared out a nest of vampires just a few buildings alone. A few alone buildings for the vampires. Looked like some had moved back in. They reached the front door of a small building that had the look of a place that was once a motel of some kind, but surely they didn't charge anyone to stay there now. Chip started laughing. Hey, what's funny? Asked Scott. I just figured out who you remind me of. The stat bloke from that film thing, Queen of the Damned. Film we probably watched in a day. Have you seen Queen of the Damned?
No, but I'm pretty sure Lestat is from something else.
So is it Interview with a Vampire?
Yeah, maybe. Or is it? I don't think it's in like actual Dracula, but yeah.
I probably Googled famous vampire. Right, let's put that in. It's from
Probably.
a film. Oh, Queen of the Damned. Okay, great, fine. Scott started laughing too. Wasn't he a vampire? Yeah, that's what was funny. He was a big gay vampire. Yay, let's get homophobia in there too, shall we? Why not? Just chip that in.
It's okay he was a vampire, that's fine. But gay. Ooh.
God hates gay vampires. He's fine with vampires, but...
Is that a vampire who bites other vampires?
If they're male, they're both male.
Yeah.
Scott stopped laughing and studied his drunk younger brother. There was no smell of fear. Because Chip uses links, that's why. Links Africa, so...
And so is Chip scared of Queen of the Damned? Is that why he should be scared?
No, he's scared of all the gay vampires.
Oh, of course. Yeah, because he's homophobic, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he ushered Chip into the front door, into what would have been the reception part at one point. It was dark, for a change.
I also like how you put, anyway, in the actual narrative.
Even in the darkest of environments, ninjas could channel their senses and adapt, like a badger. Chip felt numerous vampires in the room. Were they grabbing his butt at this time? And he's get off me, gay vampire. Oh, God, we're back with the incest. Yeah. So, where's your room?
That was definitely the intended delivery for that line as well.
He turned around and saw Scott in full vamp mode, fangs and all. I mean, if he was in vamp mode, then surely you'd expect fangs, wouldn't you?
Haven't we already said this? Full vamp mode, what's half vamp mode? Is there a quarter vamp mode?
You're only wearing part of a cloak or something? Or
you're only a little bit of a gay vampire? Just sort of bi-curious maybe?
Yeah. Wow, when did you get so ugly? Scott was surprised. Most people were quivering in fear at that moment. He growled the way only vampires could, yet still no reaction from Chip.
I like to think that it's just a really stupid growl. Instead of being menacing, it's just like...
To be fair, if I was trying to sleep with my undead brother and he did that to me, I would probably quiver in fear.
Or arousal.
From the top of the stairs, another vampire leapt and landed right behind Chip. He exploded in a cloud of dust as Chip whipped round and delivered the stake straight through its heart. Yes, finally some violence and fighting. Just to guess, but you've seen this kind of thing before, right? Said Scott. Long story, replied Chip. Involves two ninjas, friends who get kidnapped, and a dead master. Are we going to fight now? Scott started to step forward. Slowly. Chip didn't move an inch, just spoke. You always used to beat me when we were kids. No, let's see what's gonna happen.
I was thinking, it's not play fighting, just straight up beat him up.
This is getting tense now. The brothers are gonna fight, or are they gonna fuck? I don't know.
Both.
MC kicked the door down. He didn't have to, but it was half open. But intimidation was always a good start. He saw Chip and Scott about 50 yards in front of him, and Scott was a vampire.
Again, with your thing going, 50 yards. Is it going to be like the gate that's 200 metres long? 45. Yeah, I mean, that's a distance.
That's quite a big reception area, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess
it's like an abandoned motel.
Yeah.
It's quite impressive you can see Scott's a vampire from that distance, but I guess you've got all your ninja senses, haven't you? So
I've got some binoculars with me.
Ninja binoculars. 4 other vampires walked out from the shadows and stood in front of him.
You're not going to interfere in that business.
Said a gothic-looking one, but now I'm like, should that say a golem-looking one? You are going to die. Said a more gothic-looking vamp.
Well, that was quite gothic, the way you said that, and he is the more gothic one, so well done.
I really hope these characters don't die and they like have their own little spin-off where it's like Gollum and the Goth vampires. MC smiled.
Come get some. Thank you, Army of Darkness.
I like to think he just said that straight afterwards. Scott pounced. Chip sidestepped, letting his brother fly into the reception desk. He regained his composure and tried to attack again. Chip caught his attempted right hand and threw him to the ground. Chip noticed MC had drawn the other vamps that were in the building out into the street where there was more room to fight. Scott tried to get up, but Chip pushed him back down, his knees resting on Scott's shoulders. Stake raised high above his head.
Is that what you call it?
If my knees are on his shoulders, surely I'm sitting across his heart, so...
I don't know, there's some weird Kama Sutra shit going on.
In the background, Chip noticed a vampire turned to dust by a handy piece of wood laying in the street. MC had the other 3 to deal with. He still had time. Scott was confused. How come he didn't feel this strength and goodness in Chip before? Why? How could he not feel the goodness of Chip before, MC? How could he not? The goodness in Chip, MC. How did he not feel it?
He was too busy feeling in Chip before.
Vampires could usually sense when they were in danger. Even now, with a stake being held above him, ready for deployment into his heart, Scott still didn't feel danger. This is a bit sexy, isn't it?
Is this, though, is that Spider-Man or is it vampires? Like, you seem to be saying that vampires have some sort of spider sense.
Vampire sense. Instead, all he could sense was the sick and pathetic good Chip had done in the past and the person he had become. This is a weird, power for a vampire to have. They can sense the good deeds that a person has done.
Some sort of magic detect evil thing.
I guess. It's like, oh, he's good. We won't go and hang out with him. What a nerd. Only Scott could feel all that dwindling in his brother's soul. He'd come to Tokyo to sire Chip, but it seemed he didn't have to. He looked deep into Chip's eyes and waited. A brief pause seemed like an age. Then Chip spoke. Get the hell out of here. He stood up and went over to where MC was fighting one more vamp. Scott picked himself up and ran to the back entrance of the building, fleeing into the night. Chip staked the last vamp, and it was over. At least on paper. MC drove Chip back to the mansion. It was 3:30 a.m. when they got home.
Wait. So it takes 14 minutes to drive home.
Yep.
They got into Tokyo at 2:30. So therefore, it took them 1 hour and 16 minutes to fight the vampires. Wait. No, sorry. 44 minutes? 46 minutes. I've lost
this is
track
why I
of the
plan
time.
it out, so you know where you are.
Yeah, it's true.
Times. Yeah. But maybe they went for a McDonald's or something on the way home. We
Oh,
don't know.
that's
It
true,
hasn't been
that's true.
stated. It was 3:30 a.m. when they got home. It had been a long day. Yeah, no shit. Like, Jay got kidnapped and then Scott had turned out. Like, a lot has happened.
And run out of sugar.
Got drunk. 4 pints and 2 shots.
MC learned about vaginas, apparently.
Finally.
That's what they are. Oh, shit.
MC, Chip, Louise and Jay all thought before they fell asleep that there would be plenty more to come. And so ends the saga known as Family.
What it makes me think of, the bit about Chip letting Scott go, is once you maybe write down on a piece of paper, if Chip ever turns evil, I have to kill him. And you were quite adamant about getting me to agree to it as well.
Well, yeah, because it could be so easy to wuss out of that. So
exactly.
Let's be sure.
I admire that.
But yeah, some hints there because Scott, with all his vampire spider senses, sensed the goodness in Chip, but then also I guess the darkness that might be lingering inside him.
Did he?
Yeah, because blah 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 blah. Because he came to Tokyo to sire Chip.
Oh yeah.
And then he was like, "Ooh, I don't have to because of some reason." Yes, so there's potential badness in Chip's soul.
Yes, there is.
Yes. Which
he
some
says
character development.
Yeah. There's a bit. Only Scott could feel all that dwindling in his brother's soul. So yeah.
Is it all happening in this moment, or is it something that's been dormant, laying there, or what? What's going on?
Oh, I think it's something to do with the school and the dead kids.
Oh, you're right. Yes, because I think it was in the last episode where Chip was splashing cold water on his face. Because he was all like, I'm just going to think about my brother, about having a drink with my brother. So yeah, I think you're right. I don't know how I don't know this. I wrote the fucking thing, but yes, I think you're right.
So yeah, there's nothing like a bunch of dead kids to turn you evil, it seems.
Yeah, in many ways. Well, we've only got there's 2 more episodes left in the season. They'll probably be broken down into a couple of parts as well because of their length. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in episode 9, which is called Prophecy Ninja, and I'm pretty sure prophecy is spelled incorrectly.